By way of introduction, I'm Max. I'm a customer engineer that works with our enterprise customers. And one of the things I do most in my day-to-day and that I enjoy most is talking to customers about their AI strategy. So today I'll be walking through two examples, one of which I collaborated with a customer specifically in the retail space on how you can leverage Retool with AI for a retail-based use case. And then I'll also show an example of how I use in my day-to-day on the go-to-market team, Retool AI in my workflow. This application is just fully built with all of Retool's out-of-the-box components. So we've just dragged and dropped different components on the page and then leveraged AI within the workflow, which we'll see here. So you can see me analyzing this maybe as a marketing analyst. I'm going in and I see different products that we have in our portfolio. I also see here on the right-hand side some information about my products from a performance standpoint, as well as getting a summary by my different geographies. We'll get into the SQL that powers this, but that's the example SQL that was generated by AI. So on the left-hand side here, I can see my different products. If I want to see more detail on a specific product, I can now navigate to the second screen and see more detailed information, toggle between different images, and see some of those tags that were generated. So let's actually see how those tags get generated in the first place. On the bottom left here, you'll see there's this plus button where I can go in and maybe I want to add a new product from our inventory into our collection and add appropriate tags to it. So I'll go ahead and I'll click this plus button, and you'll see what this has done is it's opened up this side drawer. This is a new layout type to Retool, where I can then search through my product repository. In this case, I'm searching pants. What Retool is doing behind the scenes is it's kicking off a workflow that's running and generating those tags. And we'll get into what that workflow looks like, but it's analyzing both the image of the item and the description of the item. And here you can see all the information as it relates to that particular item. So I can see the SKU, the different colors, the section, the price. And if I minimize that, this bottom part is what was actually generated with AI. So you can see all the different tags that were generated. You can see also in this application, we've identified the ones that were generated via AI. So I can go in and say like, maybe suede actually isn't correct here. I want to add a new tag myself. I can do that. And then if I click this import button, what that's going to do is import that into my environment. And now I can see that here. And maybe this is a repository of all the different items that we've already associated tags to for search engine optimization. So that's kind of the first flow when we're thinking about it more from the perspective of like a marketing analyst or someone on the SEO team to generate tags for the different items in inventory. Thinking about, again, the way that this is accelerated is we're using AI behind the scenes to analyze that description and the image and give us suggested tags before I, as the analyst, confirm those tags. So now taking off the marketing analyst hat for a second and putting on more of like a product designer hat, if I click on this new item that I just added to my inventory, I can see all those different tags that I've identified. Let's say I want to think about maybe there's a different competitor or a different brand, and I want to design a new kind of spin-off of this item to specifically target or look at what other brand may have designed something similar. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see I have this select inspiration, and I have a list of some sample brands here. So if I want to see what these look like, if they were Gucci pants, for example, if I click this generate button, that's now using our image generation AI action directly here within Retool to generate what are some sample images of some items that would look like Gucci pants in this case. So unclear if all of these would actually match what a Gucci branded one would look like, but I think it's a good illustration of using AI less around kind of process optimization and more in terms of like creative thinking for specifically a product designer. So this could be a way where in a single interface, both the marketing and analyst team, the SEO team, and these product designers are all interacting with product information, inventory information here in one place. So this here is what it looks like under the hood for just to orient everyone on the page. That first section is what like an end user of the application would see. This is more the developer experience, what you'd see when you're actually building out the app. And if you remember the three kind of pillars I talked about that power this application, the first is the Ask AI code generation. So you'll see this SQL query here. It's not the easiest SQL query to write in the sense that it is a subquery and maybe not something that you know necessarily how to write to partition by, let's say, country in this case. So if I pop over here to this summary tab, this is actually where we're leveraging or seeing the results of that query. And you can see this is the prompt that I've put in, and I can either accept or reject that. So this is a good example of how you can use Ask AI to write potentially complex SQL or complex JavaScript directly in the application itself. So that's a kind of the Ask AI code generation side of things. Then when we talk about, there's two different pieces or AI pieces that you saw in there. The first, or one of them was around creating sample products based on the input of a different competitor. So if I pop over here to, let's see here, product details, you'll see this generate image. We're just leveraging the Retool's built-in OpenAI integration here on the Retool provided key. But you can see you can put any sort of input here, and I'm actually passing in the details of the item that I've selected, the description, designed by, and this is the drop down for the different competitors, and then the color being whatever the color is of that item. So we can continue to tweak and iterate on this prompt, and I think that's one of the nice things with Retool here is you can see what that prompt, what the output looks like, and continue to change and tweak it here in real time based on what we see as that output. So this is what we're using to generate the other product ideas. And then the last thing is that generate tags or generate the SEO here. And instead of that being kind of built in directly here into the app, what that's actually doing is kicking off a workflow. And just to show you very quickly what that workflow looks like, you can see it here's where it is, and it's doing just a few different things. It's getting information from like an API, maybe this is an API you have internally, about the product that you've selected when I clicked on that particular pair of pants. It's then using, in this case, it's calling the Google Vision API, but a key part of this, it can be any API that you have internally. It can be one of the ones that we provide the OpenAI credentials that way. It can really be any kind of API endpoint that you want here. In this case, we're using Google Vision to generate different labels and apply it to that particular image. And then at this step, we're actually combining the data that we're getting from that first API call, the details, the description of the item, and the labels that we get from the actual image analysis via the Google Vision API here to create these different tags, and also to format it a specific way where I can then, using some JavaScript here, format it further and then log it and then send it also back to the front end to be used in the application. So this is what gets called when I click on that particular pair of pants. And again, this is something that you can iterate quickly on. You can make this more complex. You can build in different rules based on types of products, things like that. But this is how we're actually generating those sample tags.